this is the Definition of Awkward channel, and I'm Iggy, and basically I'm going to try and attempt a Draw My Life video. I've tried this like 1,001 times, so this is going to be the 1,002nd time, I guess. So let's start off with my family tree. That's my mum and my dad. My dad is 2 years older than my mum, and they are a very cute couple. Then I've got my big sister, my big brother who's in the middle, and me. I'm the youngest of my entire family, including cousins, second cousins, and all that. I was going to say jazz, but that might sound a little bit weird. Yeah. Basically, let's start with my dad's side of the family. He grew up with just his mum since the age of 12. He had 3 older sisters who were all very, very successful and very pretty. He then also had 1 younger brother and 2 older brothers, and they were his siblings, and he was the 6th child in a family of 7 children. Now, the reason for him not having a father around since the age of 12 is not your usual he walked away. He was an amazing father who was Christian and loyal and earned his way. Unfortunately, when they were going to church, he had a heart attack and at the hospital passed away, leaving his wife, my dad's mum, and my grandma all on her own with 7 children, and she worked for a charity, Oxfam. It made all of them very sad, but she coped brilliantly, and she is such an inspiration. How I would do that, I have no idea. This happened to my dad when he was 12. My camera's just shaky a little bit. Then let's go over to my mum's side. It's so much happy over there. Not so much. My mum had a pretty good life though. There is my grandma, my granddad, my mum's brother, and my mummy, who was the youngest of that family. Then we have my uncle, who is amazing, he's awesome, really funny, and he lives far, far away. Then my grandma, who was a beautiful woman. She was a TA and she was an amazing mum. Although she did care a lot about appearance and money, they did very well. Unfortunately, when I was 11, my granddad passed away of cancer, which was awful for my mum. My mum was the youngest of the entire family, and she loved her dad a lot. Then, my mum and my dad, how did they meet? Well, basically, my dad was 2 years older than my mum. He was a big nerd, but turned out he was clever, and at one point he had a 6-pack, which is very disturbing to me. Seriously. Blah. I want to marry a really ugly guy so my kids do not have to think about anything like that. Basically, everybody had a Rubik's Cube at that time, and my dad was a genius, and he did it for my mum, and like molded her hands to do it for her, and then asked her out on a date, and it was the cutest thing ever, and my mum had never really been on a date before. So it's gorgeous and really, really nerdily cute. And then they got married. They're very, very happy, and unfortunately life is a massive bitch to my dad. Unfortunately, he found out that he was very, very ill. My mum even thought that she was going to lose him for a bit because he had the first heart transplant, like one of the first ever done. But luckily enough, and one of the best doctors in the entire world was able to give him a brand new heart, but it wasn't brand new. Unfortunately, 2 people had to pass away for him to get his heart. A girl who was cycling on a bike and accidentally died, gave his heart to his best friend, and then his best friend passed away and he was given the heart. This all happened in hospital, and we still know the people who were his parents, my dad's best friend's parents, who died. This is probably one of the saddest things that happened to my dad, I think, because he had to have the heart of somebody that he wished was alive. He's still ill to this day, but he's coping brilliantly. I think coping is the best word for the entire dictionary. Coping. Then, my mum and my dad were really happy. They weren't very rich, my dad was still very clever, but my mum was planning to be a big time travel around the world, but unfortunately when they had my sister, she had to quit. But because it was all the miracle about the heart, she became a Christian, and she always wears the fish symbol of a Christian on her neck. When my sister came, she was the oldest. Well, when she came, she was the youngest, but she's the oldest now, and she was very gorgeous and very talented and extremely tall. Then my big brother, who is a skater boy, very popular, not very clever, but then he turned out to be A-star clever when he worked hard. My mum wasn't really sure if she wanted another child. My dad wanted one completely. You can't see all my writing on this board, but it does say that that's my dad, and it's got a little tick sign beside him. So he wanted me. My mum wasn't so sure because we weren't rich, and she wasn't sure if she could really do it all again. Although, of course, who doesn't want babies? So we went to they went to this Christian thing called New Wine, and one of the priests or people there said to her, "I see you with 3 children." And so that basically meant that this was a sign to my mum. Because she was a new Christian, all the miracle in my dad and everything, she just had to follow it. They didn't exactly see 2 girls, but I thought I might as well do it. So that was why I was born. So yeah, that pretty much happened. My brothers and sisters got to have a little baby who was very quiet and very demanding. That is me there. My little scribbly hair, which it actually isn't very scribbly. I haven't got curly hair naturally, which I would love to have curly hair naturally. I'm going off track here. Anyway, sorry, I'm a bit ill today. That says when I was 5 years old is off the board. My stupid camera did not move. If I moved, it would have made a massive crunch sound. Then there is me, and there is Ryan, my first ever true love when I was 5 years old. And that was so sweet for me. I hardly even remembered him. Part of my family always used to say, "Oh, is that Ryan?" because they used to say it like that. Then when I was 6 years old, we moved away from my house because my dad got a big promotion, so we moved away, and I did not have to live in the garage anywhere anymore. And my boyfriend and me split up. Of course, we both didn't really care. We were both oh, we didn't realise we were going out. I think that was the whole casual thing. It was really sweet, but I do remember looking behind the car and looking at the big lorry carrying all our stuff. Then, when I was 11 years old, I'd already had quite a bad sort of primary school experience of not having many friends and being the dumbest one there, really. I always remember being very annoyed at it all. But when I was 11 years old, I went to secondary school, which at first I thought was going to be a massive place, and it was going to be really horrible for me, and especially it was going to be evil. I was pretty much not terrified of anything. I was a little bit too stubborn, which didn't mean I had many friends. But then I realised it was a new opportunity for me to find new friends and me to find a place to fit in, which is what I'd always been wishing for. Of course, soon enough I realised that I didn't have any friends, and I didn't fit in yet. I wasn't very pretty. I was pretty much ugly. I was quite large in size, and I wasn't very happy. Also, I had a lot of spelling and sort of intelligence problems. I did actually, in fact, have dyslexia, but I only realised that until the very last minute of primary school when I could hardly get any help. My mum did pay for a tutor, but he was only there for a bit, and it just meant that I had to work extremely hard, and basically I only started working when I was in year 6, etc, etc, but still. That pretty much made up who I am going to be in the future, or who I am. Then what I decided to do was I dieted a lot, and I worked really hard after I dieted and exercised. So work was a lot harder for me, and dieting was all I could focus on. And I had to try and be nice, which for me was extremely hard. I had a lot of built up anger for some reason, and I also had a lot of sort of sad thoughts, and I was very sensitive, although I tried to act as unsensitive as I could, which did mean that I would get bullied quite a lot, and I couldn't turn to my family didn't have any friends to say how sad I was too. And so pretty much I had no love, which is what I thought, but I don't think I did. I think I did have love. It's just very hard to see when you're a little kid who's all crazy. You cannot see what I'm writing there, but it says then I got a couple of friends. They weren't my true friends, they were just somebody who I made them laugh for some reason, and I was funny, I realised, and it was kind of weird. And my weight would go up and down so much. I would diet to the hell of Bolivian, and then I would just eat loads. It was really hard. I would eat no lunch, and then I would eat a massive dinner, which didn't make sense to me. Of course, like I said, I met my friends. They weren't true friends. They weren't very nice. They didn't have the same hobbies as me, but I fitted in somewhere, and then I wasn't judged as much, I guess. Nowadays I'm the nerd, which I'm really happy with, because at least I have that stereotype to stick with, and I don't mind, because then I can say I'm just a nerd. Because nerds get really far, and you have to be clever to be a nerd. So I guess I like that. Etc, etc. There was lots of stuff going on at that time. Then I went from a U to a D, to a D/C, to a B, to in fact some A's. And I know that you'll think this is just somebody else's story, but just imagine what you could do. I'm only getting A's in like 2 subjects, so don't feel too jelly of me. Also, people never recognise the difference between a U and a D. There's so much. So, just a bit ill today. And I do not know what that says, because I am just like you watching this video and I have no idea what my hand is doing. It's being a bit weird writing off screen. And I think that means then what happened was I met my true friends. These are my 3 best friends that you may see in the future. They all have Facebook pages that I'll hopefully be able to put in the link below. And then I met some nice guys, and I underlined nice because they were nice guys, you know, friend guys. So I could get into the whole that guys weren't this mystery thing that I'd never heard of, and get back to how I was when I was 5 years old, when everything was really casual and friendly. Although it wasn't great, it was a lot better than it used to be. Trying to figure out what I said there, it's a bit weird. Probably tell it by the next line. My board's swinging around like it hasn't got anywhere else to go. I think that says I had to get my work up, and I had to work really, really hard. It was very hard for me to work. That's the only way I can describe it. When other people were be able to read loads of books and learn how to play guitar and stuff, I had a natural talent for singing, actually. Well, my parents said I did, and I always used to sing little adverts and stuff, but I never knew if it was true or not. So when my friends were doing that, I was not doing books for school and trying to revise and trying to learn how to write in just English. So when people were doing from after school work to just like 15 minutes later they'd finished their homework, I was doing it for hours on end, just pure doing work basically. My dog is barking in the background because it's just that cool. I think it's a bit like me, really stubborn. It's not going to shut up. Then, I think that says then. I have no idea what that says. I think it says that I was basically coping, and life is going to be a bitch to whoever the hell you are. So yeah, you're just going to have to live with that. You're going to get over it somehow, and you're going to survive, because you just do. I think coping is probably the best word in the English dictionary. And there's more and more about my personal life and stuff, and there was loads more that happened before that and after that, but these are the main basics of my life. Now, these are a couple of ways to cope if you're feeling down or whatever. These are things that I would use. I use a load of music. I would use happy music as well, and try and use sort of like beaty music. YouTube, funny videos like epic rap battles of history, TV, books, and you try and cope, because books are a load of fiction, so you can get out of where you are. Then I drew a little cheesy heart, and I said, if nobody Well, I said no one because I was being a bit of an idiot. If no one loves you, love yourself. Because there's only you left at the end of the day, and you are brilliant. Mind blown!